After my first pony, this is another lesson, after my first pony, my next horse was much more high-strung. Some, and certainly me, I'd probably say it's a bit too much for me. He was a bit nappy, so every time he didn't want to do something, he would just head in the direction that he wanted to go and would do a little rear or spin around or something every time I tried to change direction. Anyway, I didn't want to have arguments with him. I just wanted to love my horse and have fun. So I just would pat him, and basically it made him worse. My first competition with him was a 6-bar event. So in this event, there's 6 jumps all in a row at an equal distance, with each jump higher than the previous one. Now, even though my new horse was nappy, he was an experienced jumper. So I was looking forward to this event. In the practice arena, he went over a jump. Then, of course, he, being nappy, he headed for the gate. Well, each time he did this, we went over the jump, headed for the gate. I stopped him. I was able to do that. Then I led him back to the other side of the jump, got on, and went over it again. And then he headed for the gate again. I'm sure it would have been quite, obvious to someone who was watching that this was a pretty nappy horse. Anyway, when we did the competition, I saluted the judge, and you know how you're supposed to circle, warm up, just get your horse going, get your canter established. I saluted the judge without circle, warm up, anything else. Went straight through the start flags, over the jump, and through the finish pegs. I didn't worry that he bolted all the way back to the horse float. This was the highest that I'd ever jumped in my life, so I was elated. I loved jumping and I loved my new horse. All I had to do was keep him in the middle of the jumps, lean forward, hold his mane so I didn't get left behind. Anyway, so I got off the horse after he bolted all the way back to the float, but then someone was calling my name. We were clear and we had to go into the next round. I jumped on, he reared, spun around, he wasn't going anywhere. So I led him back, mounted, saluted the judge, and did the same thing again through the start pegs, keeping him in the centre, just going over the 6 jumps, leaning forward, grabbing the mane, highest I'd ever jumped in my life. And then he bolted back to the horse float, except the jumps were higher. So everything was the same, jumps were higher. Well, we had another 2 clear rounds, exactly the same. Jumps higher, all I had to do was keep him in the middle and just hold the mane. Anyway, I won my first blue ribbon, but my horse was out of control. So our next competition included a walk-trot race around a race course where the event was held. My new horse was a decent walker and could cover a lot of ground in trot. I wondered if I could get another ribbon, even a blue one. We started off, but a couple of other horses were ahead of us. It was a fairly big class, this one. But in the trot, there was 2 horses ahead of us. So I thought even if we didn't win, we'd still come in third. And as we headed into the straight, he headed off to the right to an open gate and that headed back to the stables. Straight through, straight out of the competition. I was so mad, I turned him and I kicked him, and he stopped rearing and then trotted ahead to finish the race. Almost surprised myself. So even though we didn't win the race and didn't even get a ribbon, I was the winner on that day. I realised that all the patting and kindness wasn't going to help any sort of partnership with my new horse, and that there are times in a horse's training that I needed to be assertive. I didn't learn that I had to be assertive when I was mad at the horse, but later I learned that you can be assertive while staying cool, and I think this is an essential lesson in training.